Moja ni fahari yetu, undugu ndio nguvu.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to RCMRD. Please take your seats. Let's have more guests coming in, then we start. We supposed to have started by 9, but request that we have some 3-5 minutes to get everyone here, so we start. Thank you so much.
Lazima tuungane. Moja ni fahari yetu, undugu ndio nguvu. Chuki na ukabila hatutaki hata kamwe. Lazima tuungane, tuijenge nchi yetu, pasiwe hata mmoja anayetenganisha. Naishi na tumaini, najitolea daima Kenya. Hakika ya bendera ni uthabiti wangu. Nyeusi ya wananchi na nyekundu ni ya damu. Kijani ni ya ardhi, nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Kwa uchungu na mateso, kwa vilio na huzuni, tulinyakuliwa uhuru na mashujaa wa zamani. Hawakushtushwa na risasi au kufungwa gerezani. Nia yao ukombozi, kuvunja pingu za ukoloni. Naishi na tumaini, najitolea daima Kenya. Hakika ya bendera ni uthabiti wangu. Nyeusi ya wananchi na nyekundu ni ya damu. Kijani ni ya ardhi, nyeupe ya amani. Daima mimi Mkenya, mwananchi mzalendo. Wajibu wetu ni kuishi kwa upendo, kutoka ziwa mpaka pwani, kaskazini na kusini. uzalendo.
Good morning once again. We're getting close to starting. Can I have people moving closer? Let's take these seats so that we talk closer to each other. Kindly. Thank you so much. Just let's move closer, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, welcome to RCMRD for RCMRD International Conference 2022. This is the first physical conference we are holding since 2019. Those of you who were here in 2019 must have seen a lot of changes in infrastructure. We thank you for finding time to come here. A few announcements for now. Number one, wearing of face masks is optional. It's not mandatory. If you want to use one, please use. If you don't want to, no problem. If you've forgotten one, we have several out there. Please pick for yourself, and feel free. Number 2, registration. Those that have registered, your tags will find you here. I hope you have your bags and the programs and everything with you. Number 3, someone will show you around. We'll take you through the program briefly, but the convenient places in this block, someone is waiting to show you, but there are also some that have been put around there for just to be sure that we don't have to congregate in one place as the numbers grow bigger. I thank you once again for choosing to come here. There are many persons that have just been confirming travel after many were waiting to see what's happening in Kenya. All of you know about the political period that has been going on. So many people saw so many things, but we have so many who are confirming travel, and we'll have numbers growing even in today. So our program this morning, colleagues, will have welcome remarks by the Director General. I wanted Teddy to project the program for us, if you can. Then we shall have guest speakers, the team that you're seeing seated on the front row. I think only one person is not here, but she's confirmed she's on the way to join us here. She's already in Nairobi. We shall have some 2 partners presenting, joining in online. Then from there we shall have a short break, quick break, then we go to the keynote speakers. Before that, we shall have, as procedure requires, a team to help us lead in singing the national anthem of Kenya, and the 1 stanza of the anthem of East Africa is a requirement. Teddy, are we ready with the national anthem of Kenya? Give me a moment to have this ready. So I'll ask you to rise, ladies and gentlemen, to have this anthem. Someone knows it to lead us through. Someone volunteer to come and tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Thank you so much. Please take your seats. All right. Straight away, I'll invite the Director General RCMRD, Dr. Emmanuel Nkurunziza, to address this gathering. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. Our dear guests, the guest of honor representing the government of the Republic of Kenya, members of our governing council here present, including a representative of the ECA, dear partners seated here before us, distinguished ladies and gentlemen from across our African continent, welcome, good morning. It's my pleasure that I welcome you to the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development Conference 2022, otherwise RIC2022. This is a moment of tremendous joy as we hold our first cherished conference physically since our part of the universe came under the COVID attack in 2020. We've not met physically since 2019, so it's really a moment of pleasure that we are able to reunite physically. We know the pandemic is not over, as Paul has been guiding us on some of the precautions to take, and we must remain vigilant. But we must also congratulate and thank the scientific community that has given us the tools to be able to cope and fight back against the pandemic. Of course, lots of havoc has been wreaked across countries, but that life can be able to continue is credit to what the scientific community can be able to do. So on behalf of the RCMRD Governing Council, staff and my own behalf, a warm welcome once again to RCMRD, which is your home. And as many now refer to it as the home of GIS and remote sensing on the continent, always feel free whenever you are within the precincts of this organization. Indeed, calling RCMRD a continental geo home is in accord with the vision of its founders, who almost 50 years ago envisioned a center that would champion the application of geospatial information and technologies in not only addressing pressing national issues, but also spur development across the continent. So we hope we are living to that ideal, and the presence of our governing council members here is testimony to that. It is in line with that vision that the center, together with our esteemed partners, many of whom are here today, that the center has continued to provide services, tools, data, and information derived from Earth observations and allied ICT technologies to support decision-making in various areas such as agriculture and food security, weather and climate, water resources management, disaster management, land use and ecosystems, land information management, to mention just but a few. This we do through project implementation, and as I said, many of the partners we have here through their presentations and the exhibition that we have, you'll be able to learn some of the important transformative projects that we're implementing across the African continent. We do capacity building both to people already in their jobs, but as you have realized, we also have a growing institute at the center here that is offering cutting-edge training in our fields of surveying, cartography, photogrammetry, GIS, etc. The RCTI that has been growing over the past few years and now has a population of over 800 students undertaking different diploma and certificate courses. Besides project implementation and capacity building, we also do work with you to undertake critical research initiatives to answer some of the pressing problems on our continent and in our countries. And of course, from that, we offer advisory services. Very often when there are issues that require attention, we are called upon, and we are happy that you join us in understanding the issues and providing advisory to member states and other stakeholders. Back to this conference, which made its maiden appearance in 2017, it is also in line of exactly what I've said in terms of our services to member states, because it offers an opportunity for us as the center and the entire GEO community to share what we do. You will see it through the different themes that we have over the past 2 days, through the exhibition we have across this tent, that there are a number of things that we may not be aware of, familiar with, that you have an opportunity to know the projects and activities that are underway. But also, when people come together, it will be an opportunity to exchange ideas on the latest methodologies and applications. Actually, this began yesterday, and I wish to thank Esri and Digital Earth Africa, who, through a pre-conference event, were able to do some training and share some of the methodologies and technologies that are available to the number of attendants that came from across our member states. So despite the COVID-19 setback, the conference has evidently grown over the years, attracting attention across the continent and beyond. And over its short life, RIC is becoming a premier conference within which many presenters in our field are ready and interested in meeting their counterparts. Of particular interest is the growth in interest from young people and women in particular in our GEO community. We've had a number of themes over the years. If you recall, for those of you who have been able to attend the series of conferences we've had, in 2017, our theme was Space Science Touches Lives. That was our maiden conference, where we began by looking at what space science can be able to do to the person on the ground. In 2018, our theme was Space Science for Sustainable Development, broadening the scope to look more particularly what areas in our sustainable development endeavors space science can impact. 2019, the theme was Earth Observations for Evidence-Based Decision Making. Obviously, we need to make a connection between what we do as GEO people and our decision makers who really influence the direction our countries take. We didn't have one in 2020, but 2021, our theme was reflecting on resilience, mapping development challenges and solutions for a better world. And then we've moved on this year, and our theme is Earth Observations Services for Resilient Social Systems, where we will seek to explore the linkages between social systems and the potential as well as opportunities that Earth observations offer to really strengthening the social systems within our countries. So as individuals, organizations, countries, and continents continue to implement the Sustainable Development Goals, which rally the world towards a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and planet, technology, and no less geospatial technology, is very critical in building resilient social systems. And as I said, our own technology is very critical, as we'll see from the presentations. So in the midst of many present-day development challenges, such as flooding, I wish to share our sympathies with our friends from Sudan who are experiencing floods, but we've experienced it in our other countries like Malawi. So these natural disasters continue to afflict our countries. We still have food security challenges, even in this country, in the semi-arid areas of this country and other parts of the Horn of Africa. We have water security challenges. We have pressing problems of urbanization. And in the midst of all that, we need to ask ourselves what we bring to the table as people who monitor and understand the earth on which all this is happening. And it is my sincere hope that through this conference, we can be able to share our knowledge and possibilities for mitigating them and recovery where we have experienced such unfortunate incidences. So in conclusion, I hope this conference inspires everybody towards our number one goal of finding solutions that will improve resilience of social systems and in some way contribute to sustainable development. So feel free to interact. This is the reason we are here today. I believe each one of us has an important element to bring to the table. Finally, but most importantly, even though I did it at the beginning, I wish to thank once again our Governing Council, and maybe if I'm allowed to indulge, I'll request the representative of Sudan, who is part of our Governing Council, and Andre from ECA to stand up for recognition as I conclude. Salah from the Sudan, and Andre, also member of the Governing Council. Please, you can just say hello to the people here. So for those of you who are not familiar with our governing structure, we are led by a Governing Council that includes representatives from the 20 member states and ECA. And this is like our board. They give us direction in terms of what we do. On top, there's a conference of ministers that supervise their work to give us strategic direction. And all of them will be convening in Kampala in November to again see how we can take further the work of this institution. So their support and what we do is very important, and I wish that they are acknowledged in this conference. Thank you for being with us. In the same vein, even though they'll have time to speak, our partners that really work with us in all the programs that we do are cherished, and they'll introduce themselves. But for those that are here, I'll just mention the names, but I'll also request those who are here to wave. So some of our key partners are USAID, NASA, EU, AU. I've mentioned ESRI, representative from ESRI. We have Digital Earth Africa represented there. We have PASCO represented here. We have Kenya Airways and specifically Fahari Aviation represented here. We have FAO on the way. But we have other partners that will join online, including C4. We have IUCN represented here. We will have AU joining online as well. But the broader partnership includes other people such as UNDP, UNIDO, AGRA, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So there's a whole host of people that are part of what we achieve as a center. So we are here as a secretariat, we are here as an executive, but the work we do here is a contribution by several institutions. I can't leave the stage without thanking our host government, the government of the Republic of Kenya, who have hosted this institution since its inception. They provide us the environment to function and support us in every activity. And it's for that reason that we'll be having the guest of honor representing the government delivering and opening this conference. So thank you very much for your attention. And once again, feel at home. You are Geo people. This is a Geo home, so you're at home. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Can we have David from ESRI? You next. Hawkins, you'll be next, please.
Okay. It is such an incredible honor to be here. I want to both acknowledge and welcome the executive team for this incredible set of organizations that are collaborating to make a difference in advancing remote sensing and GIS technologies for positive benefit across the continent. IUCM, RCMRD, the ECA, Sudan, Digital Earth Africa, Kenya Airways, C4, UNDP, and so many others. It's an honor to represent ESRI at this event. We have quite a diverse team that's joining you for these few days, and I really want to encourage you to visit with us in the booth that we have prepared, and to engage with us on any topics of interest. Our team is joining you here from our regional office here in Nairobi that serves not only Kenya but many countries across East Africa. Our Mideast and Africa team based in Dubai. My colleague who's an expert in disaster response and recovery from Geneva, and my colleague and I coming to you from California in the United States. I was so grateful for the Director General's comments on the focus on resiliency and the incredible challenge that we're all facing in this changing world. The Director mentioned challenges of drought and flood. Where I come from in the United States, we have incredible challenges around fires. And as we know, our climate is changing very rapidly and very radically. And frankly, no community is spared. These are global challenges. So as we face these global challenges, how can we prepare? How can we work towards this concept of resiliency? How can we find a sustainable future? And as you have all in your own paths come to this concept of remote sensing, of GIS, of geography-based systems, I would suggest that this is a critical technology. This is a fundamental technology for the future of humanity, for the well-being of biodiversity on this planet, for the systems that sustain all of us. So we're all here to learn. It's incredibly important for all of us in this field that we are constantly learning. I would say that's because of the nature of these challenges and our obligation as GIS, as remote sensing, as geographers, in some manner or other, taking those concepts of geography and technology, bringing those together, that we all have a bit of an obligation. We have a responsibility to advance our skills, to be the most capable and effective as we can. And that makes events like this extremely important. Everyone here has something to offer. There's a lot that we can learn from one another. We're here humbly and with great gratitude to have the opportunity to meet you, to collaborate with you, to get to know as many of you as possible, and to learn from you as well. So I want to again thank the executive team. There's many distinguished organizations here that are making major commitments to advance your work for these goals of a better future and a more resilient future. So it's an honor. Thank you all very much.
Yeah. So next we have Kenya Airways. Please.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everyone. It's such an honor to be here. It's our first time participating in the conference as Kenya Airways, and in particular as Fahari Aviation. So I know most of us are not aware of Fahari Aviation. I'll give a brief introduction of the company, but before that, I'd like to recognize the Director General, RCMRD, Dr. Emmanuel Nkurunziza, representatives from government, the government of Kenya in particular, representatives from the Governing Council, representatives from fellow partners and stakeholders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. As I said earlier, I'm here to represent two organizations. The first one I think is well known to most of us, which is Kenya Airways PLC. And I've visited here a number of times with the Director General, and I realized that RCMRD has a tagline that says, mapping for sustainable development. And that rhymes very well with us from Kenya Airways, because our mission is to contribute to the sustainable development of Africa. We have been in this business for a long time, ever since the East African Airways days, and to the formation of Kenya Airways in 1977. So Kenya Airways, as a corporate entity, has been contributed to the sustainable development of Africa for over 45 years now. We actually celebrated our 45th year in February this year. And we have gone through a very difficult moment as Kenya Airways. We're in the business of air services, air transportation services. And 2 years ago, I know we are all aware, especially air services for passenger transport collapsed. And at Kenya Airways, what we decided to do is to look into other ways that relate to our core business and look for the ways to contribute or to continue our contribution to the sustainable development of Africa, to stick to our mission. And that's where Fahari Aviation comes in. So Fahari Aviation is a wholly owned subsidiary of Kenya Airways PLC. Our mandate is in application of technology, emerging aviation technologies, advanced aviation technologies that will contribute to transforming African communities. So our mission is transforming African communities through sustainable technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you now see where our vision with RCMRD gets points of convergence. At Fahari Aviation, we offer services in aerial mapping, in photogrammetry, in GIS, in cartography, but mostly through use of technology. So what we do is we have the emerging technology of drones that, fortunately for us in Kenya here, has received approval in terms of use, regulations for use of civilian drones. So at Fahari Aviation, a company that was formed actually in 2020 at the height of the pandemic, we took drone technology as our first technology of implementation. And now we have services in surveillance, we have services in inspections, we have services in agriculture, conservation, and all aspects that RCTI offers in terms of training. It is our endeavor, as the DG has mentioned, to continue the partnership with RCMRD towards embedding drone technology in all aspects of the regional center. I will also invite and indulge you to our booth. If you find time, we have a team from Fahari Aviation that will show you what we do. They'll show you a snapshot of the projects that we've taken in Kenya. Our aim this year and beginning of next year is to go regional. We still have a small challenge. I was discussing with my colleague from Sudan. We still have a small challenge from a regulatory aspect. Our neighbors have not yet enacted regulations for civilian use of drones, but we see through our East African liaison a path towards enactment of regulations for use of drone across the region. Last but not least, I thank the DG and the regional center for seeing it fit that Fahari Aviation, through Kenya Airways, should participate in this conference. And we are looking forward to engagement with all the partners here and future clients. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have tomorrow, just before the lunch break, Fahari Aviation Kenya Airways will be demonstrating use of drone technology just out here. Please find time to attend the showcasing. Next, we have the representative from FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN, Kenya. Amos, please take the floor. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Master of Ceremony, Director General, government representatives, development partners, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Hamisi Williams is my name. I work with FAO as the Assistant Country Representative and the Head of Programs for the country. And this morning, I'm here to represent our country representative, Madam Carla Mukavi, receive her apologies. We relate very closely with the institution here, and it was important that we are represented. We are a good partner, and you're a good partner as well. We value that a lot. But because of other engagement, she was not able. And I will therefore just address this gathering by giving a little bit of what she wrote. But then I'll put in 1 or 2 words which she didn't write. Those will be mine, so that we are comprehensively represented here. So, as FAO, we are a specialized agency of the United Nations that leads the international efforts to defeat hunger. Our work is guided by a strategic framework that is prepared and developed in the context of the major global, regional, national, and if you want, county challenges in the areas that our mandate requires that we operate. Presently, we are under the banner of what we call the Strategic Framework 2022-2031 that looks into taking the world into a more efficient, inclusive, resilient, and sustainable agri-food systems for what we call the 4 betters. That is the better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life, leaving no one behind, of course. So if you get those betters, just like the speaker before me, you find the nexus through which we are a very valuable, we consider ourselves a very valuable partner to this particular institution, and we want to continue in that trajectory. Ladies and gentlemen, digital technologies such as geospatial and Earth observation technologies are key drivers of sustainable development and economic growth in developing countries such as Kenya. These technologies cut across decision-making support, land and soil suitability and capability analysis, resource allocation, land use planning, revenue collection, and early warning systems for mitigation of disasters and risks, identifying and monitoring natural resource use, and propose adequate information for policy-related solutions. Now, that statement is a little loaded, but in a nutshell, with proper data collection, analysis, proper technology, like the one that is being promoted on the geospatial and Earth observations, you are able to make the right decisions about a number of things. But most importantly for us that are in the food and nutrition security sector, you will be able to make decisions that are going to go a long way in supporting to address the issues of food and nutrition security. Sometimes in the developing world, mostly, we make decisions that probably are not backed by data. They are not backed by, the precision that you require. What happens at the end of the day? Sometimes you throw resources into wrong places just because you didn't have the right information. And therefore, technologies like this would be good because they will help in the decision making and therefore will be so targeted when we do our business of food and nutrition security support. Now, sustainable development and economic growth in developing countries therefore require the use of technologies. Those will be the key drivers. They will also be catalyst for change. And FAO has been a key supporter of adoption of that type of technology, or these technologies at global, country, and also at the county level. Actually, from some of the conversations we've had here, we also had that very interesting conversations, DG, with Airbus, where in Vihiga, we had started some very interesting projects that are looking at precision agriculture. And that is the way to go, because this really is going to inform your targeting of resource allocation and also eventually improve on your production. Therefore, we consider ourselves very lucky to always be part of the RIC. And for this year, being part of RIC2022, and also being part of the fraternity of this team that is having this conversation. It is just what we consider as the right conversation to have, really at the right time. Because again, when we talk of the earth technologies, the GIS, we would be interested on those technologies that will help us to unlock the potential of land being a major factor of production. If we're not going to unlock the potential of land, we're just going to talk about it, probably allocate it. Institution here for the last 5 years, thanks to EU and our good collaboration with them, we actually implemented what we are calling the Land Governance Program. The Land Governance Program was first piloted in 2 counties in this country. Later, it went to 9 counties. In those counties, we have been able to train over 200 county technical officials in advanced geospatial technology, and also we supported the establishment of 9 GIS laboratories in those counties. And these have become so handy on the mapping and actually also leading to titling of the community lands. If you go to Vihiga, I have to mention that you'll find again how that particular lab has been used beyond what we intended it to do. And now it's on the other things I mentioned earlier, including revenue collection. This way, you use technology comprehensively and in a holistic manner, then you are able to support more with actually less. And that's one other thing, or one other beauty of technology. Because of the success of that land governance program at that level, we were able to negotiate that particular program. So now it is the digital land governance. Spatial technology, and also other kind of support that would eventually also lead to security of tenure. We're doing this while we are so much aware that those particular activities will help to unlock the potential of land as a factor of production. We're so much aware, also alive to the fact that technology will come in handy in everything else that we are going to do in that process. And if you've seen, and I must congratulate government on this, the ministry has done quite a lot in the last few years trying to digitize that particular subsector of our important subsector of our economy, including the National Land Information Management System. We worked together with the ministry there, and we're grateful for what came out of that particular program. On the other hand, again, we are working closely with the Ministry of Agriculture and also the other sector ministries and departments to implement what we are calling the Kenya Integrated Agriculture Information Management System. We call that KIAMIS. Actually, KIAMIS now, in the next few years, we're going to work to have them meet together with the National Land Information Management System. So that on one side, we're using technology to register land, and then you ask the question, it's land for what? But when you want to now get it for production, for any other thing that you want to do, you will come to the other side of the government, and you find the Agriculture Information Management System there. Now, the going even further and talking of land commercialization initiative. So all that is technology driven, and that's why this particular conversation is very, very critical to us, and therefore we want to commit that we will continue in this partnership with RCMRD and all the other partners that have been working together with us, and the new partners that are also coming into the conversation, like I just heard Kenya Airways. I think we can fly land very well and very safely and make it the pride of Kenya as well and the pride of our counties if we lock the potential. Thank you so much for listening to me. God bless you.
Thank you. Let's have the representative from Digital Earth Africa, DA, Dr. Tembi Saba. Welcome.
Esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. It is an honor and a privilege for me to come and present here today. In the same 2019, Digital Earth Africa signed an agreement with RCMRD. So we are here today, RIC2022, and for us, it's coming full circle. This partnership between Digital Earth Africa and RCMRD is really focused on building and the provision of skills and expertise that is needed for the use of satellite data in Africa. And I think on behalf of Digital Earth Africa, to indicate as well that moving forward, we do appreciate the partnership, and our model is premised on our delivery model of on collaborating with implementing partners. Digital Earth Africa was made possible by Australian innovation using the Open Data Cube that is internationally recognized as a game changer for the use of satellite information to address sustainable development challenges. I stand here today and proud to say now Digital Earth Africa, depending on your orientation, I usually say by Africa for Africa, and I know the team will say for Africa, by Africa. Digital Earth Africa is now led in Africa with a team in Africa. We offer an operational data infrastructure making current and historical analysis-ready satellite data freely available and openly accessible for the entire continent. So as I stand here today and elevate the role of Earth observation and the power of translating satellite images into useful decision-making ready information, one cannot overemphasize that our challenges as the continent are similar regardless of where in Africa you are placed. We talk of sustainable development goals. Food security is number one challenge across all the countries in the continent. From sustainably managing the environment and mitigating climate change to developing resources and unleashing agricultural potential, Africa must overcome a number of challenges to meet the needs of its fast-growing population. And of course, as I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is also in response to the Sustainable Development Goals. Earth observation, or by enabling or using Earth observation, we believe that we have the capacity or the ability to also directly contribute towards the African Union Agenda 2063 framework. Now, on the economic front, and I usually capitalize this on potential, because at times we talk billions, and the question will be, where are these billions? Are we not seeing them? I'm going to speak on the economic front in terms of the potential that Earth attributed to industry accelerated growth, 900 and success of Digital Earth Africa relies on the power of collaboration, which we dearly appreciate with RCMRD. And this power of collaboration will ensure that we continue to strengthen our capacity building. We make the difference in the respective local and regional areas as well. In fact, such collaborations offer opportunities for countries across the continent to engage and leverage the power that we have, with our natural resources as Africa, as the continent. And to date, RCMRD remains a very active and engaged implementing partner, and our commitment to a long-held successful relationship is one that we look forward to nurturing for many years to come. Thank you for welcoming us, DG, Dr. Nkurunziza, and we are, on behalf of Digital Earth Africa, we are looking forward to the next 3 days. We're looking forward to engagements, to learnings, and most importantly, capitalizing on the power of collaborations. In my language, I will say, ngiyabonga kakhulu, asante sana.
Thank you so much, the representative of DA. Let's move straight to the representative of IUCN. I will also announce that go to Play Store and download RCMRD so that you have the program, those who don't have the paper program. We'll move straight to IUCN. We ask that we keep it within 5 minutes so that we don't lose time. Thank you, sir. Please proceed.
Yeah, thank you very much. Honorable guests, Director General, Emmanuel Nkurunziza, representative from governments, representative from development partners, representative from international organizations, esteemed participants. It gives me great pleasure to stand before you to give a few remarks from IUCN on behalf of my director, Luther Anukur, who couldn't join us today. But this is sort of a symbol of our long-standing commitment to the partnership that we have with IUCN, with RCMRD, and other related partners in this meeting today. So just briefly, IUCN is one of the largest conservation organizations in the world. We're about agenda for conservation, and we're working in multiple spaces. The key milestones that we've been able to accomplish together through our collaboration with RCMRD. So through an initiative of the Organization of Africa, Caribbean and Pacific States, funded by the 11 EDF of the European Union, IUCN and the Joint Research Center of the European Union, partnering with RCMRD in the development and promotion of Regional Resource Hub. So the Regional Resource Hub acts as one of the regional observatories implemented by the Biodiversity and Protected Area Management Program, BioPAMA, which you'll see there, and is hosted by the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development. So we have a unit that we've been gracefully allocated by the DG to run this important facility. Please do take time to visit them at the booth and find out more. Other similar hubs have been established with BioPAMA's support in West and Central Africa, as well as in the Caribbean and Pacific. The Regional Resource Hub is a knowledge hub that compiles and analyzes relevant data and provides information to support field intervention and policy dialogues for fair, effective management and governance of protected areas in Eastern and Southern Africa. The Regional Resource Hub also supports regional economic communities to fast-track regional policy targets and agreements and support their implementation. For example, the SADC Transfrontier Conservation Area portal is fully incorporated in the Regional Resource Hub, and some content management responsibility have been taken over by this hub. In addition, we're working with the IGAD, the Intergovernmental Authority on Development Secretariat, providing technical support in compiling and collating available biodiversity-related data and identifying data that exist. At EAC, that's the East African Community, we are finalizing the Regional Biodiversity Strategy and Action Plan, which the Regional Resource Hub will be inputting. So complementary to this is work that we are doing with governments, with the civil society, on the forest and landscape restoration agenda. AFR 100, as you know, governments have committed to these ambitious targets of restoring 100 million hectares of degraded forest across the continent by the year 2030. So it's a 30 by 30 agenda, and data spatial mapping is core to it. We have other unique ambitions that we are driving with the AU under the Great Green Wall of the Sahel. We are also currently initiating the Great Green Wall of Southern Africa with SADC, as well as the Great Blue Wall of Indian Ocean, which we'll be inviting a couple of you in the room to participate and see how spatial data can provide real-time policy and action solutions to enhance our planet's sustainability. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to encourage you to find out more about our work on the Regional Resource Hub. As I say, visit them at the exhibition space, engage with the team, and discuss how you and your country can contribute and benefit from mapping analysis that are carried out by this team. So I'd like just to end on a personal note by thanking the DG. 20 years ago, I used to work at USA. It used to be at Kasarani here. This used to be a very small complex. But seeing this monumental growth is really a fantastic testimony of the important work that you do and the trust and belief and expectation that all these stakeholders have vested on you, and you are very dynamic council. So to wish you well in this conference and look forward to productive interaction. Thank you all.
Thank you so much. We'll move right away to you will see on the program that some persons are going to present online, so I want to exhaust the ones that are physically here. So let me have Andre from UNECA, then we shall have someone from PASCO, and then we move to the online presentations. Thank you. We keep it within 5 minutes, sir. Thank you so much. Sorry, I'm telling my boss to keep it in 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Good morning, each and everyone. His Excellency, the representative of the government of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency, the chairperson of the RCMRD Governing Council, esteemed representative from international organizations and United Nations agencies, G.R. Emmanuel, Director of the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, distinguished guests and participants, good morning again. I am very happy to be here today for this fifth session of the RCMRD International Conference, and I wish to convey the greetings of the Executive Secretary of the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. The theme of this year conference, reflecting on resilient social systems is very important as Africa accelerates its economic and digital transformation. So today, I'm here to say that we are witnessing that African government and other sectors of society have become more increasingly aware of the importance of Earth observation, geospatial science and technology as a tool to facilitate spatial data collection, access, analysis and use in the decision-making processes, both nationally, as we have here this morning, and also regionally. I'm also here to say that we are seeing an emergence of a community of robust space and geospatial experts. And the technology is increasingly becoming the driving force of many applications and services, from land administration to natural resource management, to agriculture, to security, to humanitarian and other social challenges. I'm also here to say that unfortunately, despite gains made, spatial information is not yet leveraged to its full potential in the continent. And Africa, as compared to other regions of the world, with few notable exceptions, is still lagging behind. Why? I want us to take the opportunity of this important conference and openly ask ourselves and discuss on what do we see as the main gap and challenge for the uptake of Earth observation technology by African countries, and what deserve priority attention. What are, from our perspective, some of the key elements about the importance of Earth observation technology for enhancing policy decision by African nations for purpose in management of our lands, place, and prosperity we want? What type of quick win do we see to stimulate the usage of geospatial science and technology, Earth observation, for our society and for the management of its resources? Why geospatial science and technology is not well introduced into the working environment of African country? Is there any data issues, any capacity issues? What? I have no doubt that RCMRD and its related initiatives and programs, such as this conference, can help us respond to these queries. As we have seen from previous speaker that for the last 50 years, RCMRD is contributing to heighten national spatial information frameworks and structure for delivering inclusive and holistic information for our society, and empowering our community to do as much as possible by themselves. This is, by the way, this is also the geospatial vision of the Economic Commission for Africa. At ECA, we have started building with member states and with the support of the United Nations Global Geospatial Information Management, what we call Integrated Geospatial Information Framework. This new paradigms as the assumption that, yes, we can have advanced holistic policy and strategy through a coordinated approach of cooperative management of geospatial information. Yes, again, we can build purpose-oriented data set, structured and comprehensive data foundation that will be consistent, comparable, and compatible at the local, national, and regional level. Yes, one more, we can foster the integration of all development information, including statistical, geospatial information, big data, administrative data, making them what I will say fair. Finally, but not the least, we can to critically participate and contribute to an information and a resilient society. I would like to take the opportunity to salute and commend the leading role of RCMRD with its continued engagement with, in programs such as GMS in Africa, Digital Earth Africa, Servir Africa, and so many. I hope we can draw from the various experience today some of the best practices that can assure that we deliver in a more joined-up approach in providing geospatial information to our government and citizens. So at the end of the day, we need to keep being engaged and committed. That's why I want to reiterate again that the ECA will continue to provide the needed assistance to our member states to develop their capability in establishing cooperative production, management, use of geospatial information resources for today, and more importantly, for the post-crisis recovery effort. Our landscape is changing rapidly. That's why we have started reflecting on how we can modernize the National Mapping Agency so that they can keep upgrading their geospatial strategy and operation in order to remain effective and efficient, so that they can become more agile in responding to our society present needs. I do expect that the conference will provide oversight and advisory input for future niche where activity will expand, will be significantly expanded to cover the fostering of innovation, product and service development. Please tell us where we should give more emphasis to develop services that will drive Africa to become more spatially enabled. I'm happy to see so many young geospatialists, if I can say like that, so many young people embracing the geospatial and the Earth observation domain field. This is where the future is, and I would like to say that we will continue to put a lot of emphasis on how we get more young people participating in this. I'm concluding here in congratulating RCMRD and various partners for sizing this conference, and also the so many passionate people in this place today, all the speakers and the support staff. Thank you for your initiative to hold this event that is critical to our common future. My sincere gratitude for the opportunity of presenting this remark. But before I conclude, let me say, just in 30 seconds, Program Director, that the Economic Commission for Africa is one of the 3 Pan-African institutions, along with the African Development Bank and the African Union Commission. We are the regional arm of the United Nations in the African continent, and we have been supporting the development of mapping, cartography, national spatial data infrastructure, integrated geospatial frameworks in the continent for the last 50 years. And let me also say, for those who don't know, that the RCMRD has been created under the auspice of the ECA in the 1975. And the shield has grown and has even become more bigger than the father. And as a father, we are very proud of that. We are proud of seeing how the representative of USA has said it in the right manner, as RCMRD has grown to become something that we all today must be proud of. So let me take the opportunity and ask all of you to give a round of applause to the staff of RCMRD, those who have been here in the past and laid the foundations. And I would like to acknowledge and recognize the former director of RCMRD, Dr. Farah Hussein, the current staff of RCMRD with the ongoing director, Dr. Emmanuel Kurunziza, and also we should recognize those who will be coming in the future. You all young people who are at the gate to come in. So give ourselves a round of applause. We should be proud today. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andre. And thank you for recognizing the past, present, and future of RCMRD. Thank you so much. Let's have PASCO, representative from PASCO, then please come. 5 minutes or less, please. Thank you.
Dear Master of Ceremony and Director General and distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. And yeah, it's my great pleasure to attend this event of RCMRD RIC2022. Yeah, it is very momentous opportunity to break through the COVID-19. So few people should wear the mask. However, yeah, we will proceed to the future. So I'd like to introduce a bit about the history of PASCO, because we next year we will have 70 years old. So since 1953, we founded as an aerial photogrammetry company, and maybe probably 1980s, we come here for the JICA project, Kenya Survey Authority Assistance Project, and we bring our experience technology to share with the Kenya Survey Authority at that time. And after the 21st century, we come here through the various kind of JICA project. We do all over the African countries with such kind of forestry project and surveying project, and we have various experience. And we have shared the geospatial technology and data processing technology. And recent decade, so we proceeded to more another industry area, that is satellite data technology. Yes. So why I come here is to share, to introduce the satellite, Japanese satellite, newly launched, will be launched the next 6 months, within 6 months. The name is L3. And nowadays, AI technology is very available for the geospatial industry area. So we have facilitate and very effective way to process the Japanese various kind of project to apply with AI technology. So, but however, what is AI technology? Is that deep learning or the machine learning? No, there are various prospects of the AI. So, but however, the user and the site people, site engineer should know the AI, what is the AI technology, what is the tips of how to use it, how to use more effective way to apply with the actual phenomena on the site. So maybe on the booth, if you stop at our Pasco's booth, I would like to share and introduce the Pasco's experience in Japan. So now L3 will be launched 6 months later. So it would be available for the everybody in the world, every user in the world. But however, it should be processed with more effective way to apply with AI technology, or of course GIS or remote sensing technology as well. However, what I want to share with you is, Esri is a company of the science of where. Pasco is a manufacturer of where or something. And what I would like to say is, how to use it. What I would like to say is, how to use it is a kind of the information to be shared with all of you. Yeah, please come to our booth. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to have a few persons sharing online. Then we have the guest of honor in the next few minutes. So can we have the representative from NASA?
It's an enormous pleasure to give opening remarks today at RIC. It's an enormous pleasure to give opening remarks today at RIC 2022. While I can't be there in person, please know that I'm there with you in heart. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dan Irwin, NASA Global Program Manager and co-founder of Servier. At NASA, we've been participating in this important international conference for years now, and every time
After this, we shall have our guest of honor officially opening this conference. And then we move to the keynote speakers. We shall have 2 of them. And then we have our health break. In the meantime, those that did not get their tags, please find ways of stepping out and have them, or you can have them at the break for your convenience. We have an ambulance here, fully equipped, well equipped, from AAR Health Services. If you have any problem of any kind, feel free to go there. But also at the break and within the breaks, you can take any checks that have been offered will be offered for free, courtesy of our partners, AAR Health Services. And we have, you can check for many things, devices including blood sugar, BMI, even COVID, and many others. It's all free of charge. When you find time between the breaks, please walk to the ambulance and do that. Let's try to run through. We started a little bit late and we are behind time, but we want to run through and catch up with time. So we have our break and then we move with the program as planned. Thank you so much. We're trying to have the representative from AUC who is connecting online. The colleagues at the back are managing. Just give it a couple of seconds and we'll be there. So I'm advised that the tags will be brought to you, so don't have to move now. Just wait where you are. They'll be presented to you. You don't have to move. Thank you. All right, the person at this is having difficulties connecting. All right, in the interest of time and respecting protocols, I'll ask the DJ again to invite the guest of honor to present his remarks. Thank you.
Guest of honor is representing the government of the Republic of Kenya, and maybe let me also take this opportunity to really thank many of you who took the courage to be able to travel here. I think initially, as Paul indicated, because of the political situation that was going on, we were not sure whether we would be able to proceed. And many of our political leaders could not be able to be with us today. But when we operate with the government in Kenya, we work with the department, DRSRS, and the Department of Surveys and Mapping. So we are happy today to have the representative of DRSRS opening our conference on behalf of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. David Kiama, we are privileged to have you here. Please welcome and address this gathering and open our conference. Thank you.
Director General of Regional Center for Mapping, Dr. Emmanuel Nkurunziza, participants drawn from various institutions and industry, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my esteemed pleasure to stand before this congregation of geospatial and survey technologists who are congregating here today to witness one of the most important calendar events of the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, the RIC2022, whose theme is Earth Observation Services for Resilient Social Systems. I stand here to represent my director, Dr. Moses Akali, who had wished to be with us today. However, due to engagement with other official matters, the director has sincerely conveyed his apologies and promised to join us during the closing ceremony. It is in this regard that the director requested me to represent and deliver his speech as follows. The representative of the Regional Center for Mapping Governing Council, Director General Regional Center for Mapping, partners present here today, representatives from various member states, representatives of various academic and research institutions, the entire community of the Regional Center for Mapping of Resources for Development, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great moment for me and everyone here that we are able to meet again for RIC in 2022. This has not been possible since 2019 because of the COVID-19 pandemic. My appreciation goes out to different partners and institutions in government, private sector and academia that have in one way or another supported this conference, and those that have sent in representatives to attend the conference. For the benefit of the gathering and our different stakeholders, I wish to place myself in this great Regional Center for Mapping community. As has been mentioned by the DG, the Regional Center is owned by 20 member states, and in each member state, the line ministry or department is the ministry responsible for mapping and geospatial services. In Kenya, the line institutions include the Ministry of Lands and Physical Planning and the Directorate of Resource Surveys and Remote Sensing, Office of the President. It is in this capacity as the Director of DRSRS that I'm here to address you on behalf of the Government of Kenya. My remarks will focus on three keywords in this year's theme, that is services, resilience, and social systems. Starting with the social aspects, the conference looked at social issues at individual, family, community, and societal levels. We are all aware of the dehumanizing effects of the devastating flooding in Pakistan, drought in the Horn of Africa, and tornadoes in the USA. To achieve resilience against such vulnerabilities, it's important that our planning and decision-making processes adopt evidence-based planning. A key question therefore is, how can Earth observation and geospatial technology support planning and implementation of robust and resilient social systems? On services, we are living in an information explosion age where data and information sharing is much more open thanks to the internet and the whole array of technologies collecting data about our planet. But to be useful, data must be translated into information that helps to solve problems. Therefore, I do hope that RIC2022 will also provide a platform for innovative ways to translate data from satellites and other sources to products that solve societal challenges and problems. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let's strive to build our capacity, commit to social action, and foster strategic partnerships and innovation to address the societal challenges we are facing. I now declare RIC2022 officially open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guest of honor. We appreciate. Next, we move to the keynote address session. My sister, my compatriot from the Republic of Uganda, Dr. Jane Bemigisa, will be the moderator. Thank you, Jane. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Chair of the conference. I'm so glad to be here now to usher in now a new step to the conference, which is now going to be looking at the how question. We are now going to the how question of the Earth observation's utility to our social systems. And on hand, we are going to have two presenters. And the first one will present on social challenges at a global glance. And also we'll have the second keynote presenter looking at the Earth observation information in environment and development. And not to go further in my own talk, I'd like to give the opportunity to our first keynote speech opportunity, Mr. Chiheno.
Sorry, we shall have it the other way around. Let's have the second one, who is physical, then the first one will be online.
All right, that's okay. All right, then we will have the first one as the Earth observation information in environment and development, and this is going to be delivered by David Gisden, Director of Conservation Solutions at RIC Global. He has a wealth of experience of 20 years in geoinformation applications at natural resources management and to conservation specifically. We are so glad and have the pleasure to invite you, David.
Let's see if we could just maybe back up a slide. I'm not sure where the presentation is loaded. Is that in the back here? Okay, great. Yeah, if we could just go back to the very first slide, that would be terrific. Well, thank you all. Again, I'm David Gadsden. I had a moment to greet you all earlier. It's a terrific honor for me to be here. As I mentioned, we have quite a substantial team. I realize that I'm the last presentation before, second to last presentation before the break. So while I've prepared some remarks, I will sort of quickly go through them. You've all had the opportunity to hear a bit about Esri in the past, and so I won't spend too much time. Would it be possible to have the presentation on the screen for the audience to see? Ah, Sante. Okay. Excellent. Okay, well, thank you again for having me. Let me just get comfortable with the device here. So, for those of you not familiar, Esri is a very unique organization. We were founded in 1969 by Jack and Laura Dangerman. Jack, like many of you, had studied geospatial technology in the very early days, where they were really beginning to determine how to take the real world and abstract that into a computing environment. It turns out it's very complicated. The world is not round, it's a very funny shape. To accurately come up with coordinate systems and do measurements and create layers of information to overlay was not trivial. So in the late 1960s, as computers began to stabilize and not be the size of this room, but smaller rooms, and then these sort of computing systems that were accessible in the universities, Jack was there with some of the original thinkers that were creating what became geographic information systems. He then returned home to Redlands, California, where I'm living now, and they founded Esri there. Jack and Laura, they took a small loan from Laura's parents, about $3,000 US, and they started this company building these geospatial tools. And they never again took on more debt. They just worked for small organizations, developing systems, providing geographic-based tools for land use management, forestry management, parcels and private property management. And Esri has gradually grown now for over 52 years. We're still reporting and managed by Jack and Laura Dangerman. We're not on the stock market. We're not reporting to other shareholders. We serve the users of our technology. That's the entire structure of our organization, and that's very unique in information technology. We're not a Facebook, we're not a Microsoft, we're not a massive organization. We're actually very focused on just geospatial tools and just serving the users of those tools. So it's an honor for us to work for Esri. So generally, if we could stay on the slides on the screen behind me, that would be great. I'd like to just quickly speak to some of these. Geospatial technology is advancing rapidly around the world. Now, you all know the relevancy in your project areas or in your focus areas for the tools. What's changing is GIS is truly becoming societal, meaning when the COVID-19 outbreak took place, these tools that had been perhaps designed for land-based challenges, natural resources and other uses, had been growing for many years in the field of global health. They were essential, for example, in eradicating polio in Africa and Nigeria because of the critical importance of knowing where the children were that needed to be vaccinated relative to where the vaccination teams were going in this repeated activity to produce vaccinations. So when COVID occurred, dashboards were created to take all of the global incidence data and to summarize development sense in the human footprint around the world, and it's frankly at a place where we have many challenges. The human footprint around the world is placing pressure on all of the natural systems that are there sustaining us, the clean air, the clean water, right? Access to clean water. I focus on biodiversity at Esri and our work in conservation. There has been a massive decline in global biodiversity over the last 50 years. That's the result of how humans are leveraging the Earth's resources. But the challenge is, how can we do better? And in order to do better, we must have better understanding. How do we achieve that understanding? As I mentioned earlier, my belief is that the technologies which you've chosen to focus on in your careers and the executives here are investing in to help empower local, national, regional, and global organizations to leverage are essential. because all of these challenges are taking place in space. They are geographic challenges. They're not happening in one place, they're actually happening everywhere, and they're overlaying one another. They're compounding upon one another. And so we need a technology framework that allows us to make sense of these challenges. The geospatial tools give us that opportunity to take a geographic approach to problem solving. So geography, space, the connectivity and relationships and influence in space, the fundamentals of geography that are much older than any of the technology we're here to talk about, simply the benefit of thinking geographically when coupled with this technology becomes very powerful, right? And that's why your expertise is so important as a translator, as an ambassador, as an applied user, I would say, as an applied geographer. So you're taking these tools that are not well understood by everyone, and you're helping bring the right tool to the right challenge through a geographic approach. And mapping is obviously fundamental to all of this, but this is much more than mapping, right? Because we're talking about integrated systems, potentially live and real-time systems, where you're not just working with a shapefile that might be a few years old. You're potentially working with satellite imagery that might be constantly refreshed, or sensors on items that are moving. One of our colleagues here from the MAP scientific team in South Africa has developed a very elegant IoT, or an Internet of Things integration with Esri tools, so that animal collars or various sensors, such as the level of water in a water tank, becomes integrated into the system and is there in a dashboard for decision making. So systems today mapping remains extremely important. In fact, mapping is sort of a framework that allows us by colleagues of yours in this endeavor. So these are just a few examples of the role of GIS that's taking place today in environmental assessment and conservation, looking not only around ecosystems, looking at coffee production, mineral exploration, many others. So maybe if we could just keep the slides up, because I'm actually just going to show through. Thank you. Quickly going through, land information remains so critical. There was a terrific comment earlier by a previous speaker on the importance of the benefit of geospatial geospatial technology to the continent. I would also say that benefit is also about the lack of conflict and the potential conflict that takes place when land is not well defined, when ownership is not well defined, the conflict that ensues. That's what you're able to avoid by implementing good land management systems and credible cadastral systems. And so there's credibility and knowledge about ownership across the landscape and land use. And in my field of conservation, we have a long way to go. There have been many designated conservation areas that aren't well demarcated or their boundaries aren't well known. And so there is a constant pressure against those areas. We still have much work to do in this regard. Planning across regions for making plans for sustainable growth, appropriate development areas, not putting large populations in watersheds that, or in floodplains that may lead to disaster scenarios down the road. Again, holistic thinking, integrated thinking. Today, GIS is not just about landscapes and broad geographic areas. You can bring these tools into buildings. So you're managing campuses, you're managing space, you're managing the efficiency of physical structures with these same geographic tools that allow you to make effective decisions. Transportation, again, becomes increasingly important as cities continue to grow, and the challenges of effective and low carbon alternatives for moving people from work back to home in and across these urban areas. As I mentioned in my earlier remarks, disasters are only increasing, unfortunately, right? We're in a stage where everything is dynamically changing, and some of these events are devastating to many communities around the world. Planning for, trying to mitigate and prepare for these events, and then recovering as efficiently as possible is also essential. I mentioned the COVID and the polio examples earlier, but human health remains a major focus and opportunity for these geospatial tools, as well as planning for economic development and where to place businesses, how to build markets, how to support customers effectively across landscapes. Imagery and remote sensing continues to advance dramatically. So not only is that content and information available for you to work with, but it's being made available through dynamic web services, so that rather than wanting a satellite image and waiting to download several gigabytes of imagery, you're able to store and manage that imagery in an online infrastructure and access it in a very light manner, even on a mobile device, even in the field. And that imagery is not just a picture of what's happening, it allows you to conduct analysis back on that server, but used on a very light mobile client. It's a major evolution. Of course, there's so much happening with AI and analytics. I have a colleague here that'll be speaking this week on remote sensing and agriculture. I want to encourage you to attend her session, because there's really some amazing evolution taking place in regard to remote sensing. Now, I would say that all of this work is leading us to a place where we have new opportunities for collaboration. And if the end result of your work is a map that only a few people look at, then we might be missing an opportunity. The opportunity today is that portals, which have been around for a very long time to organize available geographic information and provide access to the people interested in that information, they've now grown into this concept of a hub. And a hub is a collaborative framework where you can even sign in and become a member of that hub. You can access open data in many different formats. You can download apps and collect new information and contribute it to the hub. So we're building community around geospatial tools, around geographic tools, and hubs, and the final point of engagement is extremely important. There are many examples that are increasingly touching our lives, right? Elections, global health issues, right? Where geographic information is being increasingly made available in a useful way. You have the access to those tools to be able to take your project and your focus and make it accessible and engaging in that way. GIS, as I mentioned, continues to evolve rapidly. I would really encourage you to chat with my colleagues and I at the booth, attend our sessions. We'd love to hear about their work you're doing as well. We're very focused on advancing these tools at Esri. We're very excited to share with you everything that's available. And this brings us back to this concept of mapping common ground. I would encourage all of you to think about your role, even though you might be focused on a specific program area. a partner to make a difference in many. No cost to be able to make a difference. I want to thank you. It's been an honor to be here today. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope you get a chance to spend some time with my colleagues and I, and I'm very grateful. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, David, for that excellent presentation. I would like to get to the next presenter, and we have information that Madame Chihenyo is not around, so we'll have Dr. Mugo, who is the Chief of Party Survey Project at RCMRD. Mr. Mugo, Dr. Mugo, we have worked together already at different levels, and we appreciate that it was now at country and at ecosystem level. And of course, we are very privileged to hear from you. On behalf of Madame, who has 15 years of experience and skills in natural resources management and also climate resilience at all levels, I understand. So, Dr. Mugo, the stage is yours.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Teddy, could you please help us to get the slides on board? Please go to the first slide. Right from the beginning, please. Yeah, like the that I am the one standing between you and tea. I'll try to make it as short as possible. So I will also try to make sure that I can be Next slide, please. I will keep saying that until I am able to man the technology here. So I think a number of us have spoken previously about the various development challenges that we are going through, which I don't want to overly emphasize. Drought, water insecurity, and conflicts in the region, and they can be single-handedly looked at or even synergistically looked at. Next. So USAID is a development agency. They look at this from a development angle. We are here mainly this week talking about development, but also from a technology angle, like our colleague from S3 has just very ably spoken about. So looking at this from three main pieces: one, sustainable regional economic integration, improved management of risks like we saw previously, and East African institutions that provide leadership and we know a little bit about some of the issues that we are talking about, whether it is in country X, view, this is where disasters get really bad and out of hand. You have to bring in humanitarian agencies to focus on some of the relief efforts that people are, whether it is flooding, you saw the pictures from the Sudan, people who have lost entire homes. And you can look at this and pinpoint a number of areas also on the continent where relief agencies have worked tirelessly to offer support in terms of humanitarian assistance. I don't want to mention the names, but you know them. Next. So from when you categorize the issues, you might hear a lot of mention in the next 3 days about shocks and stresses. That simply means that when you have a disaster like drought, and you had a farmer who had 5 or 10 head of cattle, and then that in a few days or in a month is reduced to nothing, is a shock in the livelihood of that particular individual or community that is impacting on the resilience capability of this particular person. And you can look at the numbers in the region. 60% of the territory that is IGAD. The region is also currently battling issues like death locusts, but you also have population growth